get familiar. So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar.
Hey, in the last lesson, we got a brief introduction, how we can draw a red rectangle. And this lesson, we're going to go into a little bit more detail of the basics and how the rectangles work. So with the fill rectangle, this is the X, this is the Y position. This is the width of the rectangle. So if you make any adjustments, that's going to update the shape. And then this is the height of that rectangle. And then also the fill style is creating the color background that is going to be used because we are using the fill rectangle. So I'm going to comment these two out and we'll move down. And we're also going to create a stroke rectangle. So always reference the CTX object because this is what gives JavaScript the ability to do the drawing. And with the brackets, there are a number of different options here for the drop down. And the one that we're going to be looking at now is going to be called the stroke rectangle. And what this does is this also requires 4 parameters. It requires the X, the Y position of the starting, and the X and the Y start at 0 in the top left-hand corner of the parent element. So within the canvas element, whatever the top left-hand corner is, this is going to be the 0 position. So if you wanted to position something in the top 0 position and it goes X, so X is across, so that's how many pixels off the left you want to start your rectangle. That's going to be the top left-hand corner of the rectangle. And this is how many pixels off of the top you want to start the rectangle. So I'm going to move it down 100 pixels off of the top and creating this stroke rectangle. And then how many pixels wide we want the rectangle to be. I'm going to do 200, and how many pixels high we want the rectangle to be. So we'll do 300. And so notice it went to the default color of black, and you can actually have multiple drawings on the page at the same time. And this gives us the stroke rectangle is the method to create a non-filled rectangle. But if we want a filled rectangle shape, then we use fill rectangle. So this one draws an outline and this one draws a filled rectangle. You can also clear the rectangle. So again, selecting the CTX object, and always remember to select this first before you initiate the method in order to do the drawing. And clear, and this one as well, just like the other ones, requires a number for X, a number for Y, so across the horizontal, across the vertical from the top, and then a width, and as well as a height. So let's select that, and then the rounded brackets. So let's specify where we want to start. We'll start at 100 and 100, and we'll go all the way to 500 and 500. And we'll save that. And what this has done is this has cleared that area of the existing content. So that's where we lost the red rectangle because of the dimensions of the clear was larger than the red one. If we move it down to 200, it's only going to extract that particular shape. And if I move it to on top of that rectangle, and let's go down 400, and we'll do this one by 200 and save. This is going to take out the center of the rectangle, but it's going to leave the outside part because remember, this is X position is the starting position. So we're going in the top, in the left-hand side, and then the 150 off the top, and then also going 400 across, and then 200 down. And because the parent rectangle, the red rectangle, starts at 100, and we start this at 150, that means we've got about 50 pixels there of a border around the entire thing. So what clear does is this makes it fully transparent. The stroke draws an outline, and the fill rectangle draws a filled shape. So now it's your turn. Go ahead and open up those editors, create a rectangle, take the center out of the rectangle, and also create a stroke empty area around the red rectangle, and you're going to be ready to move on to the next lesson. And I'll do that quick adjustment right now where I'm going to have the stroke around the red rectangle. And so what we need to do is make some adjustments. And if we want to start the stroke, if we want to have it around 10 pixels off of the red rectangle, we need to look at where we started with the fill rectangle, and we can subtract 10 off of the left side, and we're also going to subtract 10 off of the top. I'll save that. So that's our starting point. And we also want to go all the way over to 510. So that would mean that we're going 420 picks. Let's try it. And actually that should be 520. And we also need to adjust the bottom part. So that's going 320 picks. And that should create the stroke area around the red rectangle.